Hello there, friends. Today for art class, we're going to read a little story again, and we're going to talk about making a story. And I'm going to show you how you can make your own story with your art. So, a story has three parts, okay? At least most stories do. Okay, there's lots of different ways to tell a story, but the way that we're going to look at is having 3 parts. A story has a beginning, a story has a middle, and a story has an end. Okay? So we're going to read this story, and then we're going to talk about where the beginning and middle and end. This is called Mouse's Birthday. Mouse's Birthday. Mouse's house is very small. Very small. Very small. Hardly any room at all for anyone but Mouse. In comes Cat upon his knees, carrying a gift of cheese, trying very hard to squeeze into Mouse's house. In comes Dog upon his knees, carrying a pot of teas, trying very hard to squeeze into Mouse's house. In comes Cow upon her knees, carrying a bowl of peas, trying very hard to squeeze into Mouse's house. In comes Horse upon his knees, carrying a pair of skis, trying very hard to squeeze into Mouse's house. In comes Farmer on his knees, carrying a brown valise, trying very hard to squeeze into Mouse's house. They all fit. Candles lit. Happy birthday, Mouse. Candle glows. Mouse blows. House goes whoosh. Mouse's new house is very wide, very wide, very wide. Everyone can fit inside, including little Mouse. What a cute little story. Oh, look at that. Look at little Mouse sleeping in his little bed. He looks so happy. Okay, so that was a cool story. We're going to talk about the beginning and middle and end, okay? At the beginning of the story, we're saying Mouse's house is very small, very small, very small. Hardly any room at all for anyone but Mouse. So at the beginning of the story, it's just Mouse in his little house, going about his day, showing us what his house is like. That's the beginning. It's kind of just setting up the story and showing us what's in the story. In the middle of the story, we have all different kinds of animals and friends coming over to Mouse's house. That's the middle of the story. The middle of the story is the part where all of these different friends are coming. This is what's happening in the story, right? And then, at the end of the story, Mouse blows his house open. And at the end of the story, Mouse is here with his friends in his new house, right? Because now he's just in the barn. And that's his new house, and they're all happy. This is the end of the story where everyone is in the new house. So the beginning is showing Mouse's small house. The middle is friends coming to the house. The end is everyone in the new house, the new big house. Okay, then that tells us a story. That's the beginning, middle, and end. So I would like you to try to tell a story with your art. Isn't that exciting? So I have 3 papers here, okay? So one way you can do it is to use 3 papers, okay? What I'm gonna do right now, actually, I'm gonna fold the paper in half like this. And I'm gonna tell a story on 1 paper, okay? So I folded it in half like this, and we have the beginning. This is gonna be the middle, and this is going to be the end, and that's my story, okay? So I will take a marker. Your story can be about anything you want, okay? But here's what I want you to do. Because you're creative, meaning because you have your own ideas, I don't want you to do the same story as me. I want you to come up with a different story, okay? It could be about anything. It could be about an animal or a person or anything at all. It just has to have a beginning part, a middle part, and an end part. So we're going to think about what's happening, okay? I see on my desk, and if you need ideas for something, look around you. You'll get some ideas. On my desk, I see a pair of scissors. Maybe that gives me an idea. Maybe I have a story about a pair of scissors. Okay, so I'm going to draw my character, the pair of scissors. And in the beginning of the story, I'm going to show kind of what it's like for my pair of scissors. What am I going to show? So here's my scissors, and I'm going to give my scissors some eyes up here like that. See that? Isn't that funny? But, oh no, my scissors looks like he's feeling worried because he's nervous. He's nervous to cut the paper because he's afraid he'll make a mistake. Right? So that's the beginning of my story. My scissors are nervous to cut the paper because he's afraid he'll make a mistake. Okay? But then, you know what happens? The glue and the tape, they're going to encourage him. Glue and the tape are going to say, "We got your back." And you don't have to write in your story if you don't want you to. You can just tell it with pictures. They're saying, "We got your back." They're telling the scissors, you know what? If you make a mistake, Mr. Scissors, we can fix it for you because we're glue and tape. So the scissors is thinking about it. He's thinking, okay, and it's showing that, oh look, he's about to cut the paper. And then, you know what happens on this page? He's cutting the paper. This is just a close-up showing the scissors, and I'm going to show the paper being cut. Oh wow, he's actually doing it. He's cutting the paper. So this is the middle of my story. And at the end of the story, guess what happens? Scissors cut the paper. And he did a good job. He cut it in half. And he did it just right. And the scissors and glue are happy for him. They're like, "Good job, we knew you could do it." And there's a little heart. And they're all happy. Okay? So, my story has a beginning, a middle, and end. And sometimes you come up with a problem, right? Like the scissors. What's his problem? Well, he wants to cut the paper, but he can't cut the paper. And his friends say, "We've got your back." And they are helping him cut the paper. And then he cuts the paper and it's okay. And at the end is when they kind of, everything's good and the problem is solved, okay? Some ideas: you could make a story about a frog who's afraid to jump out of the water to get a fly, right? You could make a story about a cat who wants to make a new friend with a duck, except he's afraid to talk to the duck, right? Or maybe the duck, I don't know. There's so many different things we can write stories about. So start by drawing someone like an animal for the beginning of your story. In the middle, make them doing something and moving forward and doing something. And at the end, that's the end of your story where they did something good and everyone's happy. Okay, that's an idea of how you can make your story. So try that out. See if you can tell a story with your pictures. Okay? If you have a hard time with it, that's okay. I just want you to try your best to make a story with your pictures. Alright? I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. So, you can send me a picture of your story when you're all done if you want to, but you don't have to. I just like to see what my students are making sometimes, alright? So have fun making your story with your beginning, your middle, and your end, okay? Take care, everybody. Keep making art. Have a good time. Bye-bye.